Hello, welcome to chapter number 8. This lecture has 3 parts, A, B, and C. This is part A. The chapter is going to introduce the basics of 3 market structures: perfect competition, monopoly, and monopolistic competition. So on part A, let's start with the characteristics of perfect competition. First, every seller and every buyer on this market are so small relative to the size of the entire market that none can alter or change the ongoing market price. Second, it is assumed that all companies produce identical goods or services. Third, all market participants have access to all information available. Fourth, there are no transaction costs, which means that market participation is free. And fifth, there are no barriers to entry or exit to the market. These 5 characteristics have 2 important implications. Number 1, all sellers and all buyers are price takers. Remember this, price takers. This means that they must pay and charge the ongoing market price, and there is nothing they can do about it. And second, in the long run, every company in this market earns 0 economic profits, although, as I will explain later, accounting profits are not 0. They are positive. Now, in this graph, you can see what being a price taker means for the company. The market price is set by the interaction of the market demand and the market supply and is set at PE. However, for each individual company in this market, the price PE is the price that they must charge their customers. Nothing above, nothing below, just PE. In fact, the only variable these type of companies have control over is the amount they can produce. Also, notice that the horizontal line given by PE right here effectively becomes the demand curve for the company, and that's why you have this solid blue line and this demand indicating that this is the demand curve. Now, as discussed in previous chapters, the goal of any company is to maximize profits. In the short run, perfectly competitive companies must select a level of output that achieves this outcome by adjusting the number of units of the variable factors of production. In other words, this goal is attained by following the profit maximizing rule, which is marginal revenue has to equal marginal cost. Let's see what this means. These charts illustrates this. On this chart, notice that in this market structure, marginal revenue is equal to price, since the increase in total revenue for every additional unit sold is always equal to price. Therefore, when you plot total cost and total revenue, you see 2 break-even points, point A and point B. And you also see that when the slopes of these functions are the same, in other words, when marginal revenue equals marginal cost, you identify the level of output Q that maximizes profits. That is, the difference between total cost and total revenue. Here is another way to see this. On this chart, notice that the profit maximizing condition of marginal revenue equals marginal cost is met at the intersection of the marginal cost curve and the marginal revenue horizontal line, which equals the demand for this company's product. In other words, under perfect competitive conditions, price is equal to marginal revenue and this is equal to marginal cost. This condition determines the optimal level of output Q star in order to maximize profit. Remember, profit is equal to total revenue minus total cost. Since total revenue is equal to P times Q star and total cost is equal to average total cost or ATC times Q, the profit level in the short run equals this blue rectangle. Now, a very important feature of this model is that in the short run, the short run supply for a perfectly competitive company is its marginal cost MC curve above the minimum point of the average variable cost or the AVC curve, which is illustrated by the red curve on this chart. Should the market price fall below P0 right here, this company would stop producing. Since keeping producing would imply losing money. So this red line right here is effectively the supply of this company in the short run. Another very important feature of this model is that there are many companies in this industry, each with its own supply. In this chart, for example, you can see the supply of company I, which is 1 unit at the price of 12. But if you had, say, 500 similar companies, each one producing and supplying 1 unit, the market supply would be more horizontal or more elastic, representing all companies in the market. These features in the short run are important to understand decision and equilibrium in the long run. Look at this chart. Suppose the equilibrium is disrupted by the entry of new companies into the industry driven by the pursuit of new profits. The market supply is going to shift to the right, which implies a drop in the market price, and therefore that all existing companies go back to making zero economic profits. On the other hand, suppose that the equilibrium is disrupted by the exit of existing companies out of the industry, since some of them were losing money. In this case, the market supply is going to shift to the left, which implies an increase in the market price, and therefore that all existing companies again go back to making zero economic profits. In other words, as seen in this chart, in the long run, all existing companies in the market produce at a level such that, number one, price is equal to marginal cost. Number two, that price is equal to the minimum of the average cost. At this point, Q star, let me go back. At this point, Q star, all companies are making zero economic profits. Remember, when this happens, accounting profits are positive. Go back to previous chapters if you need a refresher into what this means. Okay, this concludes part A of this chapter 7 lecture. See you in part B.